A student is a learner, or someone who attends an educational institution. In some nations, the English term is reserved for those who attend university, while a schoolchild under the age of 18 is called a pupil in English, although in the United States and in Australia a person enrolled in grades CAR Euro 12 is often called a student. In its widest use, student is used for anyone who is learning, including mid-career adults who are taking vocational education or returning to university. International variations. Asia, Brunei, education is free in Brunei Darussalam, not limited to government educational institutions but private educational institutions too. There are mainly two types of educational institutions, namely government or public as well as private institutions. Several stages have to be undergone by the prospective students leading to higher qualifications such as bachelor's degree. Primary school, secondary school, high school, or also known as the sixth form centers, colleges, university level, it takes 6 and 5 years to complete the primary and secondary levels respectively. Upon completing these two crucial stages, students have freedom to progress the sixth form centers, colleges or probably straight to employment. Ahead of times, these students will be led to undertaking the university-level programs in both government and private university colleges. Pakistan. In Pakistan, 12-year school is categorized in 3 stages: primary school, secondary school and higher secondary school. It takes 5 years for a student to graduate from primary school, 3 years for secondary school and 2 years for higher secondary school and 2 years for college pre-university college. On average, bachelor's degree spans over 3 years with exception to engineering degree that takes 4 years and 2 years master's degree. Philippines. The Philippines is currently in the midst of a transition to a K-12 basic education system. Education ideally begins with 1 year of kinder. Once the transition is complete, elementary or grade school comprises grades 1 to 6. Secondary level or high school comprises 2 major divisions. Grades 7 to 10 will be collectively referred to as junior high school, whereas grades 11 to 12 will be collectively referred to as senior high school. After basic education, students can opt to take a bachelor's degree at a higher education institution, which normally lasts for 4 years, though the length of some courses may be longer or shorter depending on the institution. India. In India also, 12-year school is categorized in 3 stages: primary school, secondary school and higher secondary school. In some states like Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh, 2-year higher secondary is junior college and the institute is different from regular school. For college it's average 3 years for bachelor's degree and 2 years master's degree. Iran. In Iran, 12-year school is categorized in 3 stages: elementary school, junior high school and high school. It takes 5 years for a student to graduate from elementary school, 3 years for junior high school and 3 years for high school and 1 year for pre-university college, independent on your field. After graduating from high school, or pre-university if needed, students acquire a diploma. Having a diploma, a student can participate in the Iranian University Entrance Exam or concours. The University Entrance Exam is conducted every year by National Organization of Education Assessment, an organization under the supervision of the Ministry of Science, Research and Technology. Members of the Baha'i religion, a much persecuted minority, are officially forbidden to attend university, in order to prevent members of the faith becoming doctors, lawyers or other professionals. Australia. In Australia, after preschool, which is not compulsory, children begin primary school, usually after their 5th birthday. In New South Wales the first year is called kindergarten, in Victoria prep, and in South Australia reception. Students then continue on to grade 1 through to grade 6, except in Western Australia, South Australia and Queensland, where primary school currently continues to grade 7. However, by 2014 all states will conclude primary schooling at Year 6. Students begin secondary school in Year 7 and continue to Year 12. Year 7-8 is referred to as the junior school, 9-10 is referred to as middle school and Year 10-11 through to 12 as senior school. After Year 12, students may pursue tertiary education at university or TAFE. The general term for people in primary, secondary and tertiary education is students. New Zealand. In New Zealand, after kindergarten or preschool, which is attended from ages 3 to 5, children begin primary school, year 1, at 5 years of age. Years 1 to 6 are primary school, where children commonly attend local schools in the area for that specific year group. Then year 7 and year 8 are intermediate, and from year 9 until year 13, a student would attend a secondary school or a college. Primary school children are known as pupils and intermediate secondary school children are known as students. Europe, Finland. In Finland a student is called opiskelija, though children in compulsory education are called opilas. First level of education is esikoulu, which is optional. Children attend esikoulu the year they turn 6, and next year they start attending peruskoulu, which is compulsory. Peruskoulu is divided to alakoulu and alakarensikoulu. After compulsory education most children attend second-level education either lukio or ammatikoulu, at which point they are called students. Some attend kompiluka, which is a retake on some alakarensikoulu's education. To attend ammatikoulu or a university a student must have a second-level education. The recommended graduation time is 5 years. First-year students are called foxy, and students that have studied more than 5 years are called nne Warden opiskelija. France. In some French schools, a blow or bizarre is a first-year student. Second-year students are sometimes called cara copyright S. Some other terms may apply in specific schools, some depending on the class pra copyright paratoire au grands a copyright coles attended. The generic term permaltudiant applies specifically to someone attending a university or a school of a similar level, that is to SAT pupils in a cursus reserved to people already owning a baccalaureate copyright at. Germany. In Germany, the German cognate term student is reserved for those attending a university. University students in their first year are colloquially called Erstes. Different terms for school students exist, depending on which kind of school is attended by the student. The general term for a person going to school is Schuonkortelaar or Schuonkortelaarin. Students attending a university preparatory school are called gymnasiussen, while those attending other schools are called Hauptschuonkortelaar or Reelewonkortelaar. Students who graduate with the abitur are called abiturienten. The abbreviation STUD plus the abbreviation of the faculty P.E. Phil. For philosophy is a postnominal for all students of a baccalaureate course. The abbreviation CAND. For candidatus plus the abbreviation of the faculty is given as a postnominal to those studying for a mastership. First name surname, STUD. Phil or first name surname, CAND. Ireland. In Ireland, pupils officially start with primary school which consists of 8 years, junior infants, senior infants, first class to sixth class. After primary school, pupils proceed to the secondary school level. Here they first enter the junior cycle, which consists of first year to third year. At the end of third year, all students must sit a compulsory state examination called the junior certificate. After third year, pupils have the option of taking a transition year, or fourth year. In transition year pupils take a break from regular studies to pursue other activities that help to promote their personal, social, vocational and educational development, and to prepare them for their role as autonomous, participative and responsible members of society. It also provides a bridge to enable pupils to make the transition from the more dependent type of learning associated with a junior cert to the more independent learning environment associated with the senior cycle. After the junior cycle pupils advance to the senior cycle, which consists of 5th year and 6th year. At the end of the 6th year a final state examination is required to be sat by all pupils, known as the Leaving Certificate. The Leaving Cert is the basis for all Irish pupils who wish to do so to advance to higher education via a points system. A maximum of 600 points can be achieved. All higher education courses have a minimum of points needed for admission. At Trinity College, Dublin undergraduate students are formally called junior freshmen, senior freshmen, junior sophomore, or senior sophista, according to the year they have reached in the typical 4-year degree course. Sophista is another term for a sophomore, though the term is rarely used in other institutions and is largely limited to Trinity College Dublin. At university the term fresher is used to describe new students who are just beginning their first year. The term, first year is the more commonly used and connotation-free term for students in their first year. The week at the start of a new year is called Freshers' Week, or Welcome Week, with a program of special events to welcome new students. An undergraduate in the last year of study before graduation is generally known as a finalist. Italy, in Italian, a matricola is a first-year student. Some other terms may apply in specific schools, some depending on the Liceo Classico or Liceo Scientifico attended. Sweden, in Sweden, only those studying at university level are called students. To graduate from upper secondary school is called tar studenten, but after the graduation festivities, the graduate is no longer a student unless he or she enrolls at university-level education. At lower levels, the word elev is used. As a general term for all stages of education, the word studierand is used, meaning studying person. United Kingdom. Traditionally, the term student is reserved for people studying at university level in the United Kingdom. Children studying at school are called pupils, or school children. However, the American English use of the word student to include pupils of all ages, even at elementary level, is now spreading to other countries, and is occasionally found in the UK, as well as Australia and Singapore. In South Africa, the term learner is also used. In England and Wales, teenagers who attend a college or secondary school for further education are typically called sixth formers. If pupils follow the average pattern of school attendance, pupils will be in Year 12 between the ages of 16 and 17, and Year 13 between 17 and 18, however many schools still refer to them as the Lower Six, and Upper Six, or AS, and A2. The successful completion of sixth form and the acquisition of A-level qualifications is the traditional path to university education. In Scotland, pupils sit Highers at the end of fifth year, after which it is possible for them to gain entry to university. Many pupils, however, choose to remain at school for a sixth year to grow in maturity and to gain extra qualifications. At universities in the UK, the term fresher is used informally to describe new students who are just beginning their first year. Although it is not unusual to call someone a fresher after their first few weeks at university, they are typically referred to as first years, or first-year students. The ancient Scottish University of St Andrews uses the terms begent for a first year. Second years are called semi-begents, third years are known as tertians, and fourth years, or others in their final year of study, are called magistrands. In England and Wales, primary school begins with an optional nursery year followed by reception and then move on to Year 1, Year 2, and so on until Year 6. In state schools, children join secondary school when they are 11 or 12 years old in what used to be called first form, and is now known as Year 7. They go up to Year 11 and then join the sixth form either at the same school or at a separate sixth form college. A student entering a private, fee-paying school would join the third form, a Euro equivalent to Year 9. Many schools have an alternate name for first years, some with a derogatory basis, but in others acting merely as a description, a Euro for example shells, or grubs. In Northern Ireland and Scotland, it is very similar but with some differences. Pupils start off in nursery or reception aged 3 to 4, and then start primary school in P1, or Year 1. They then continue primary school until P7, or Year 7. After that they start secondary school at 11 years old, this is called first year, or Year 8 in Northern Ireland, or S1 in Scotland. They continue secondary school until the age of 16 at fifth year, Year 12 or S5. And then it is the choice of the individual pupil to decide to continue in school and do AS levels and then the next year to do A levels. In Scotland, students aged 16 or 18 take Highers, followed by advanced Highers. Alternatively, pupils can leave and go into full-time employment or just start in a technical college. Large increases in the size of student populations in the UK and the effect this has had on some university towns or on areas of cities located near universities have become a concern in the UK since 2000. A report by Universities UK, Studentification, A Guide to Opportunities, Challenges and Practice has explored the subject and made various recommendations. A particular problem in many locations is seen as the impact of students on the availability, quality and price of rented and owner-occupied property. North America, Canada. Education in Canada is within the constitutional jurisdiction of the provinces, and the overall curriculum is overseen by the provincial governments. As there is no overall national coordinating authority, the way the educational stages are grouped and named differs from region to region. Education is generally divided into primary education, followed by secondary education, and post-secondary education. Primary and secondary education are generally divided into numbered grades from 1 to 12, although the first grade may be preceded by kindergarten. Ontario and Quebec offer a pre-kindergarten, called a junior kindergarten in Ontario, and a garderie in Quebec. Education in Ontario once involved an Ontario academic credit as university preparation, but that was phased out in 2007, and now all provinces except Quebec have 12 grades. The OAC was informally known as Grade 13, and the name was also used to refer to the students who took it. Education in Quebec differs from the other provinces in that it has an A copyright Cole primaire consisting of grades 1 to 6, and an A copyright Cole secondaire consisting of secondaries IV. Secondaries IV are equivalent to grades 7 to 11. A student graduating from high school can then either complete a 3-year college program or attend a 2-year pre-university program required before attending university. In some English high schools, as well as in most French schools, high school students will refer to secondary 1 to 5 as year 1 through 5. So if someone in secondary 3 is asked, "What grade year are you in?" they will reply 3, or Sec 3. It is presumed that the person asking the question knows that they are not referring to grade 3, but rather secondary 3. This can be confusing for those outside of Quebec. In some provinces, grades 1 through 6 are called elementary school, grades 6 through 8 are called middle school, or junior high school, and grades 9 through 12 are considered high school. Other provinces, such as British Columbia, mainly divide schooling into elementary school and secondary school. In Alberta and Nova Scotia, elementary consists of kindergarten through grade 6. Junior high consists of grades 7 to 9. High school consists of grades 10 to 12. In English provinces, the high school years can be referred to simply as first, second, third, and fourth year. Some areas call it by grade such as grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. The difference between college and university is significantly different from in the United States or even the United Kingdom. A Canadian college is more similar to an American community college. In contrast, a Canadian university is comparable to an American university. In Canada, colleges are generally geared for individuals seeking applied careers, while universities are geared for individuals seeking more academic careers. University students are generally classified as first, second, third, or fourth-year students, and the American system of classifying them as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors is seldom used or even understood in Canada. In some occasions, they can be called senior 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. United States. In the United States, the first official year of schooling is called kindergarten, which is why the students are called kindergarteners. Kindergarten is optional in most states, but few students skip this level. Pre-kindergarten, also known as preschool, is becoming a standard of education as academic expectations for the youngest students continue to rise. Many public schools offer pre-kindergarten programs. In the United States there are 12 years of mandatory schooling. The first 8 are solely referred to by numbers, so students may be referred to as first graders, fifth graders, etc. Upon entering high school, grades 9 through 12 also have alternate names for students, namely freshman, sophomore, junior and senior. The actual divisions of which grade levels belong to which division is a matter decided by state or local jurisdictions. Accordingly, college students are often called freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, unless their undergraduate program calls for more than the traditional 4 years. First year: the first year of college or high school is referred to as freshman year. A freshman is a first-year student in college, university or high school. The less common gender-neutral synonym first-year student exists. Second year: in the U.S., a sophomore, also called a soph, is a second-year student. Outside the United States, the term sophomore is rarely used, with second-year students simply called second years. Folk etymology indicates that the word means wise fool. Consequently, sophomoric means pretentious, bombastic, inflated in style or manner. Immature, crude, superficial. It is widely assumed to be formed from Greek sophos, meaning wise, and moros meaning foolish, although the etymology suggests an origin from the now defunct sophomore, an obsolete variant of sophism. Post-second year. In the U.S., a junior is a student in the penultimate year and a senior is a student in the last year of college, university, or high school. A student who takes more than the normal number of years to graduate is sometimes referred to as a super senior. This term is often used in college, but can be used in high school as well. The term underclassmen is used to refer collectively to freshmen and sophomores, and upperclassmen to refer collectively to juniors and seniors, sometimes even sophomores. The term middle is used to describe a third-year student of a school that offers 5 years of study. In this situation, the fourth and fifth years would be referred to as junior and senior years, respectively, and the first 2 years would be the freshman and sophomore years. Graduate students. A graduate student is a student who continues his/her education after graduation. Some examples of graduate programs are law school, medical school, veterinary school. Degrees earned in graduate programs are the Master Unregistered Trademark S degree or a doctorate degree. Vocational school. Students attending vocational school focus on their jobs and learning how to work in specific fields of work. A vocational program typically takes much less time to complete than a 4-year degree program, lasting 24 months. Liberal arts that are required in 4-year universities are less important to these students because the skills necessary for their careers take precedence in order for a timely completion of the program. Jamaica. In Jamaica, children usually start attending school at the age of 2, where they would go to what is known as basic school or kindergarten. They would then move on to the primary or preparatory school at about the age of 5 or 6 usually. After 6 years at this level, students would move on to the secondary school level. After 5 years of education at this level, some students finish and graduate at 16 years old. Some move on to the tertiary level, while some may choose to attend sixth form then move on to university or college or straight into the working world. Mature students. A mature, non-traditional, or adult student in tertiary education is normally classified as an student who is at least 23 years old at the start of their course and usually having been out of the education system for at least 2 years. Mature students can also include students who have been out of the education system for decades, or students with no secondary education. Mature students also make up graduate and postgraduate populations by demographic of age. Student pranks. University students have been associated with pranks and japes since the creation of universities in the Middle Ages. These can often involve petty crime, such as the theft of traffic cones and other public property, or hoaxes. It is also not uncommon for students from one school to steal or deface the mascot of a rival school. In fact, pranks play such a significant part in student culture that numerous books have been published that focus on the issue. Pranks may reflect current events, be a form of protest or revenge, or have no other purpose than for the enjoyment of the prank itself. Other terms. Students who are repeating a grade level of schooling due to poor grades are sometimes referred to as having been held back, or kept back. In Singapore they are described as retained. In the Philippines they are called repeater. The term pupil is used in some Commonwealth primary and secondary schools instead of student, but once attending higher education such as sixth form college, etc., the term student is standard. The term pupil is also used in the Philippines by the Department of Education to refer to learners currently in elementary school. The term student is used by the Department of Education for learners in high school. The United States military academies officially use only numerical terms, but there are colloquial expressions used in everyday speech. In order from first year to fourth year, students are referred to as fourth class, third class, second class, and first class cadets or midshipmen. Unofficially, other terms are used. For example, at the United States Military Academy, freshmen are called plebs, sophomores are called yearlings, or yucks, juniors are called cows, and seniors are called firsties. Some universities also use numerical terms to identify classes. Students enter as first years, and graduate as fourth years. Idiomatic use, freshman, and sophomore are sometimes used figuratively, almost exclusively in the United States, to refer to a first or second effort, or to a politician's first or second term in office or an athlete's first or second year on a professional sports team. Junior and senior are not used in this figurative way to refer to third and fourth years or efforts, because of those words' broader meanings of younger and older. A junior senator is therefore not one who is in a third term of office, but merely one who has not been in the Senate as long as the other senator from their state. Confusingly, this means that it is possible to be both a freshman senator and a senior senator simultaneously. For example, if a senator wins election in 2008, and then the other senator from the same state steps down and a new senator elected in 2010, the former senator is both senior senator and a freshman senator. International Students' Day. International Students' Day commemorates the anniversary of the 1939 Nazi storming of the University of Prague after student demonstrations against the German occupation of Czechoslovakia. Germans closed all Czech universities and colleges, sent over 1,200 students to Nazi concentration camps, and had 9 student leaders executed. See also, dormitory, student activism, school bullying, bullying in academia, bullying in teaching, freshman 15, international student, student orientation, student resources, school counselor, student financial aid in the United States, study skills, tutor. Studentification, university student retention, references.